We will start talking and then I'll remember to have Pitt record. Watching the participant numbers still rising, so we're just gonna wait a minute, make sure everyone is in the Zoom webinar. Right, the number's holding pretty steady. I see it moving around a little bit for our participant numbers. The session is being recorded, but we are going to go ahead and get started because we have a lot of information and we are so excited that you've joined us today. My name is Summer Rothrock. I serve as our parent and family liaison in the Office of Parent and Family Resources. We host monthly webinars on topics that may be pertinent and important information and resources for you to have as parents and families of Pitt undergraduate students. And so this feels really timely for our families of graduating Pitt students, that this webinar topic is about the university's spring commencement. And I am so excited to welcome my colleague Sharon from the Office of Special Events to talk to us about all the important information we need to know about commencement. But first, I want to remind you that this webinar is simply informational. It's another way to share the commencement information with you. But all of this information can be found at commencement.pitt.edu. It is the most comprehensive website for commencement. It is constantly updated thanks to our friends in special events. So if you want to take notes, feel free, but all of the information we're sharing is also there. The Q&A is open and we have two colleagues from the Office of Special Events working behind the scenes to answer those questions for you. I would say I would take a moment before you put your question in the Q&A box, because the information that Sharon's going to go over is really comprehensive and it's most likely going to answer those questions. But if you know your question is very specific, you can go ahead and pop it into that box. If you pre-submitted a question via our survey, we will make sure that we try to get to it. If not, we have email addresses for you at the end if we still need to answer those questions for you. But Sharon, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm also going to put you on the spot a little bit. I've never asked you this, but would you share with us how many Pitt commencements you've been a part of?
Sure. So first of all, thanks for having me and our office on here. We always strive to get as much information out as possible. So when you asked, this was very timely. So we really appreciate that. I have been in this office for about 18 years now. So that's a good amount of commencement. So I've been around for a while. I feel like I've seen everything and heard everything, but there's always something new that pops up. So like Summer said, two of our colleagues are on here and they'll be answering the Q&A. And like Summer said, I tried to condense everything into a couple slides and we're going to talk about those, but anything and everything that you think of, questions, anything like that, please throw it out there. And like Summer said, our website has everything on it, but we'll also at the end make sure you have our commencement email address and our office phone number. We are here every day, all day. So to answer any other specific questions that may come up or more personalized things that you want to discuss. So if we're good, we can go ahead and get started with the slides. And Summer's going to run those for me.
I am. It's still, my enter button wasn't working. Sorry.
Okay. Okay.
User
So
error.
some of this is just general information, and then we'll get into a little bit more specifics. But the when and where, as everyone probably knows by now, the university-wide spring ceremony, strictly for undergraduate students in the spring. It's on Sunday, April 28th this year. It starts at 1 o'clock, and it's at the Peterson Event Center. So 1 o'clock is when the ceremony starts, regardless of who's in the building or not. So we try to keep everything on time. So it'll start right at 1 o'clock. Okay, this is a big one. There's a lot of text on there, but just so that everyone is aware, and hopefully all of your students or your son and daughter are aware of this. So Commencement and graduation are two entirely different things. So graduation, as it says on there, is the completion of all the degree requirements that are recorded on the transcript. So to officially graduate, your student has to do all of the requirements and they must apply to graduate through the registrar's office. The registrar's office is completely separate from our office. It's an entirely different department. So graduation is one thing. Commencement is the ceremony that we celebrate all the students and all their accomplishments. So the students have to RSVP if they're going to attend the ceremony so that we can reserve a seat for them. And again, applying for graduation, everybody has to do that. Not everybody is going to attend the commencement ceremony. So when you talk to your student later on today, this week, whenever you see them over spring break, they have to do both. They have to apply to graduate, and if they want to attend the ceremony, they have to RSVP for the ceremony. So who is invited? Undergraduate students who are scheduled to graduate this April 24. That's the only group that we've invited this year. There is an asterisk there. As sure as many of you know, we have now gone to a 2 ceremony a year to celebrate the students and their accomplishments. So this is kind of a last year was a little bit more of a transition year. This year we've implemented, we just did a ceremony in December. This one is in April. So for our December ceremony, August and December are graduate get invited to December. April gets invited to the spring. So the provost's office did allow any student this past December who wanted to walk in the spring, who couldn't make it since it was the first time in December. They're kind of grandfathered in, so to speak. So there's not a lot of them, maybe 100 or so that wanted to walk in the spring. So there's just a handful of them, but moving forward, it will strictly be April is invited to the April ceremony. So how are your students invited? So the way we go about doing that is we meet with all of the school contacts within every school, engineering, CBA, social work. We have a meeting with all of the schools and kind of go over what's going to happen for the semester. January 31st, all of the schools had to submit their student names to our office. Anybody who they had that was graduating, they gave us the names and the email addresses of those students. Our office then sends out the official invitation to the students that went out this year on Monday, February 12th. So everybody that's graduating, the schools gave us their names, they got their invitation February 12th. Our office sends weekly reminders out to students who have not registered. Ashley, who is on here, she sends a reminder every week. We get updates every week from school. So there's always students who apply to graduate a little bit later, sometimes in February, March. Every week we get any new students who have applied to graduate, and then Ashley adds them into the rotation. Once students accept their invitation or decline it or whatever, either way, we pull them off and they don't get reminders anymore. But again, those go out every week. And I added on here real quick, and we can go into it maybe a little bit later, but all correspondence goes through the students only. I know sometimes, and we get phone calls in our office, parents want more specific information. Our email and our phone number we'll give you at the end. We are always here to answer general commencement questions, where to go, ADA accessibility, anything general. If you want to know specific information about your student, if they registered, did they get the information? Your student has to write in for that. That's our office policy. All the correspondence goes through the student. So just so you know that, but again, we're always here to answer general event questions for parents. Okay, some key dates that we have on here. Graduation Central is Tuesday, April 9th and Wednesday, April 10th. This is what we call our one-stop shop that takes place in the university store on 5th. That's the book center that's here on campus. This is where students order regalia, pick up regalia. The bookstore has vendors in there for diploma holders and class rings, and they have different vendors in there. we try to get everything and anything that pertains to commencement at Graduation Central. It's very busy. We have activities, entertainment, food. Food's always important. But this is your students' one-stop shop to get everything that they need for commencement. Now, they can go into the bookstore any other time after Graduation Central and get all these things, but that's more just on whenever they can get to the bookstore. So this is not the only date you can get those things, but this is our big one-stop shop for people. The commencement registration deadline, we make it right after Graduation Central's over, Wednesday, April 10th, 6 o'clock. We pull the registration link down and it's closed at that time. There's a multitude of reasons or why we need to close it, basically for planning purposes and things like that. But that deadline is firm. And so if your students are interested talking about it, unsure if they want to attend, it's always better to have your student register and then change their mind and not attend. Because we can always pull people out, but we are not able to add anybody in after that date. So if they're on the fence, tell them to fill it out. And then I wanted to add, we sponsor a professional photo session. There's a link on our website. Students can go on and look at that. That's free of charge. We have a photographer there during that time and that day. They can get pictures in their regalia, headshots, LinkedIn photos, anything like that. It's you do have to pay for the photos. I'm not quite sure what that cost is, but we set that up. The students can go on and take care of that. It's just a little added thing that we started doing, and it's very popular. So if you want your student to do that, tell them to sign up sooner rather than later. Okay. And now this is kind of going to get into all the details for the event. We do live stream the ceremony. So Summer, is there a slide before that? I'm sorry.
Let me check.
Oh, okay. Maybe there. Okay. All right, we can start here. The ceremony itself is live streamed. Like I said, anybody can go on Pitt's YouTube channel the day of the ceremony. It's live streamed from there. We also have viewing locations that are set up on campus. One is in the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse, and the other one is in the assembly room at the William Pitt Union. So that's our overflow area. There is in the Fitzgerald Fieldhouse probably about 2,000 or 3,000 seats that are open to watch the ceremony in, and then the assembly room is also available to watch. At the ceremony up at the Peterson, there are concession stands that are open during the ceremony. The field house has a concession stand as well, and then we just have beverages available in the Union, but those are open for anybody who's up there. Some specifics about the ceremony. We do announce student names. Everybody who attends has their name announced and they walk across the stage. About a week before the ceremony, your students will get their name card, is what we call it. The name card they have to print out and bring with them. That's their ticket to get into the building, is their name card. And they hand that to us, and the announcers use that to announce their name. So everybody walks across the stage, everybody gets their name announced. Your student sits on the floor within their school. We do not do them alphabetically, but they are sitting within their school. So all business students sit together, arts and sciences, things like that. The ceremony itself lasts about 2.5 to 3 hours, probably at the most. I do know people seem to think in their head that it lasts hours and hours. It really doesn't. I don't know that we've had a ceremony go over 3 hours. Never say never, but we have a pretty good system down to get everybody through and get all their name announced. There is a photographer that is there at the ceremony. We work with a company called Grad Images, and they will be on the floor. They take photos of your students crossing the stage. They try to get posed shots before or after they get off the stage. They're also milling around before and after the ceremony. They'll take group shots, take any type of photos that you want. We give them the student's email address. Again, everything goes through the students, and Grad Images will email your student and show them what pictures are theirs. And then you can buy those and do whatever you want with them. That's just an outside company. We let them come in and do that. Some of their pictures turn out great. Some, they're action shots. So, but you can get professional photos from the day. There is a vendor that comes in and sells flowers and gifts. I know parents always want to buy flowers, bring them in. You can certainly bring them into the Peterson Event Center. There's also a company that's staged kind of in different places throughout the Peterson where you can buy gifts, flowers. They have t-shirts with everybody's names on the back. Again, that's handled by that company, but that option is there as well. A question we get a lot is about diplomas. We do not give out diplomas at the ceremony. The students will get a scroll that we give them as they cross the stage. None of the schools at our ceremony or any of the smaller ceremonies hand out diplomas. You may get a diploma holder. Some schools give out gifts, things like that. The diplomas are mailed from the registrar's office to the student's permanent mailing address. So your student will not walk away with their diploma that day. I just like to put that out there because some people think they're going to get it that day. The registrar has to approve everything, make sure everything's set, ready to go, and then they mail those to you directly. Okay. Tickets. Tickets is a hot button issue, so we'll get into that. And then if there's any other questions, we can talk about it later. So all eligible students will get 4 tickets, and your guests need a ticket to enter the building. The tickets, we work with Ticketmaster. That's who is the person that's contracted through the Peterson Event Center. We have no option in choosing how that works. We use Ticketmaster. We will send a link for the tickets to the student the week of April 15th. Again, those are Ticketmaster tickets. We have instructions on how to get them. Your students will download them and can email them, transfer them, do whatever they want with them. I know one of the questions that have come up, and I'll just hit on this briefly and we can always talk about it later, is why do we only get 4 tickets? Why can't we get more? How does that work? We go on how many students have historically attended in the past. So the ceremony itself, it's not like a school ceremony. There are over 2,000 students who attend the ceremony. We have to keep in mind building capacity. If I could give more tickets out, we would. The reason we came up with 4 tickets is that allows us, each student, to get 4 tickets. That keeps us under the building capacity and also keeps in mind the people who are working there, faculty, volunteers, things like that. As we get closer and registration closes, and if we're not near where our capacity is, we will revisit the possibility of trying to give out additional tickets or creating a list for that. I can't guarantee that, and I don't know that's going to happen. Last spring, we were at capacity. We used every seat and every ticket that we had, which was 4. So we'll have to see what happens after registration. That's why that deadline is so key, because then we'll know exactly how many students are attending. Everybody gets 4 tickets. Where are we at with building capacity? So everything ticket related is based on building capacity, just so that you guys know. And again, if there's other questions with that, we can certainly talk about that afterwards. The doors for the building will open at 10:30. It is general seating. We do not do assigned seating at all. We try to give out tickets as we can. If we have extra, we will figure out a way to do that. It's general seating. We're not assigning seats to anybody. It's just open seating. Accessibility seems to be one that a lot of people have questions about. Everything regarding ADA accessibility is on the website. The Peterson has their own website as well that may provide a little bit more details. Both entrances for guests are ADA accessible, so they can get in. All the shuttles that we have, and just hitting on that below with the parking lots are open and free the day of. So you can park anywhere on campus. You can look at our website and there are shuttles that run continuously before the ceremony, during, and after. They're all accessible. You can get on the shuttle, have it drop you right off in front of the Peterson. So parking's open, the shuttles are open. Like I said, we get a lot of questions about accessibility. I would definitely recommend going on there and just being familiar with where it's at. There's drop-off locations. We do rent, the Peterson has wheelchairs. We rent additional wheelchairs that are available at the entrances. You can ask an usher. We try to do as much as we can to accommodate our guests that come in. We also have a hard of hearing section that we staff an interpreter at. And there is also live captioning that's available in the Peterson. We have a company that provides that for us, and you can go on a link inside the Peterson on your smartphone or tablet, and it will provide live captioning as the ceremony is going on. So we try to cover everybody. We do ask the students who are attending if they have any accessibility needs to let us know, and we'll accommodate all the students there. There's always students that are in wheelchairs, students who are unfortunately have a fall, break an ankle, on crutches, service animals. We accommodate everybody there. So as soon as we know, we work all that out and we get that taken care of. But that seems to be a main issue. So please go on the website and look at all of the different things that are available. And again, if you have a specific concern, you can always email or call into our office and we can see what we can do. And then, like I said before, this is our website. Everything, like Summer said, everything for students, everything for family, friends, everything's on the website. I would ask everybody to click around and look through there. If you have a question you're not sure of, I'm positive it'll be on the website. However, you can also email in. Sydney, who's on here, monitors our email, commencement@pitt.edu. She turns around and will answer you within a day. That's part of her job, is to answer every single question that comes in. If she doesn't know, she asks somebody and then we let her know and then she'll pass that along. Also our phone number, which I didn't put, I forgot to give that to Summer, but our number's on there as well. Call us. We answer the phone. We're here 8:30 to 5 every day. Again, we can answer any parent general questions regarding commencement, accessibility, where do I go, shuttles, anything like that. If it's student specific, you just need to tell your student to either call in or email us, and then we can provide information to the student, whether or not we received their registration. If they got the invitation, students will write in, I didn't get an invitation. Then we try to investigate why they did or didn't get an invitation. Anything student specific like that has to come from the student. So they can always check in with us and then they can pass information along to you. Okay.
Sharon, thank you so much. Also, I've been here for 17 years, so seen many Pitt commencements. And your team just does such an impressive job. That was so much information covered. I know there's more information on that website, constantly updating it. Ashley and Sydney are in the Q&A answering questions quicker than I can even read them. They're answering them so quickly, but I am going to try to pull a couple of them. But we had a few also submitted. So I'm going to start with one. We had a parent of a student athlete who wants to know if our student athletes graduate during this commencement or is there a different ceremony?
There is only one university-wide ceremony, and that's on that Sunday. I know it always tends to be somewhat of an issue for some of the athletes because I know baseball, softball, some of these sports are still in session right now. We can always look on that on a case-by-case basis or have that student write in and talk to us. What we don't want to do, I should say, our main goal is we try to accommodate everybody as much as we can. So I know there have been some things that have popped up for religious reasons, and we work with those students, student athletes. We can work with them to try to come up either with a way to get them involved. And if we can't, then we would bring them in on a different ceremony. Our goal is to make sure that everybody is celebrated in some form. So we would take care of those on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you. I have marked a couple other questions to answer live. This one is, will UPMC parking lots be open as well? Will current leaseholders have guaranteed parking in those garages?
If you're a leaseholder, I would imagine that you can still get into your lot. Oakland's a little bit tricky sometimes because some lots are owned by UPMC, some lots are owned by the university. I'm not quite sure how all that works. There are, UPMC does allows us to use some of the lots. Um, I would just recommend, we have a map on the website that shows which parking lots are available. I would recommend parking in there first. And some of the lots that are up close around the Peterson, the OC lot, can fit a lot of parents in there, and that's right above. But again, Soldiers and Sailors, Posvar Hall, they're a little bit further away, but a shuttle will pick you right up outside of the garage, take you up and bring you back. So they're not going to turn leaseholders away. We have it set up that they don't collect payment for any parking lots on campus. So I just can't guarantee if a UPMC lot is going to abide by that as well, just because people think UPMC and Pitt are the same, but we're two very different groups.
Thanks, Sharon. This is a good question. Do you need tickets for the field house or the union live stream?
You do not. So once we started implementing tickets is when we started doing a live stream viewing location. It worked out really well last year. We didn't have a ton of people in there. There were more people in the field house than in the union, but it was nice because there's always family members who didn't want any part of going up there. They just wanted to kind of see it and experience it. We have a shuttle that runs to the field house. So you can get on there, you can be outside the Peterson, celebrate, and take the shuttle and go right to the field house. So you do not need a ticket to get in. The field house is set up for smaller school ceremonies. So it's already set up for people to be in there in the stands and on the floor to sit in and watch it. They pipe it live stream right into the building. You can watch, concession stands are there, and relax in there. The union is in the assembly room. That room is a little bit smaller. It's set for maybe 300 or so students. And the volunteer that we had working down there said there was maybe 50, 75 people in there. But again, they parked in Soldiers and Sailors and walked across the street, watched it, and they were happy with it being down there. So anybody who can't get into the building, you don't need any ticket. You can go right into the field house or the union and watch it from there.
Sharon, I actually stopped down at the union live stream last year. And if you have a family member who doesn't love large crowds, but would still like to watch it live stream, it was a very nice environment. It was very calm, and you really could hear and really enjoy the live stream. So we're getting a lot of questions in the Q&A. I'm going to try to ask the one that is the most broad, so hopefully we can hit all around with an answer. There's a lot of questions about the individual school ceremonies. There's some about engineering, honors college, but there was, I scrolled by it, here it is, are specific schools holding their own ceremonies. Can you talk a little bit about that information that's on the commencement website?
Yes. So if you want to, for more specific information, we have a listing of all the schools. If we don't have their date and time, we have a contact person. So when we hold that meeting with the school contacts, we ask them to give us their information. So our office does not coordinate any of that, but we like to put it on the commencement website just so that people can take a look at those. So every school except for arts and sciences does their own individual school ceremony, recognition. If you look on there, they're not all ceremonies. Some people do brunches, some people do receptions, some with regalia, some without regalia. It really depends on what the school has traditionally done and what they like to do. So while arts and sciences doesn't do their own school ceremony, all the different departments within arts and sciences, most of them tend to do something. Religious studies will have a reception, or the geology department will have a not a happy hour, I should say that. They'll do something for their students. So what the school does and what we do on a university-wide, they're two separate things. However, we encourage students to do everything and anything that they want to do. This is their weekend. So there are students who will attend a department. I know engineering breaks theirs down a little bit more and they do a couple other different things. Your student can go to the school ceremony, to a department reception, and attend the university-wide ceremony. It really depends on your student. There are some students who don't want to do their school and only come to the university-wide one at the Peterson. And in the reverse, there are students who want no part of being up there with 15,000 people and they just want to go to their school ceremony. It is entirely up to your student. We welcome them and we encourage them to do however much they want to do or however they don't want to do. It's completely up to the student. So I would encourage your student to look into what their school or their department's doing. That obviously is on a much smaller scale. Their faculty may be involved, their dean may be involved. It's just a different setting. So depending on your student, what they like, what they don't like, or as parents, I know I have two kids that are parent or that are college. So depending on what I want them to do and what they want to do, we try to find a happy medium so that that they enjoy their weekend.
Sharon, I have 2 questions flagged for answering live. There's so many good questions in the Q&A. Ashley and Sydney are still responding. I also just wanted to share with you, Sharon, because I don't think you're able to look at the Q&A. Barbara shared that this will be my second Pitt graduation. Considering the size and scope of the event, they do an amazing job. Thank you for that comment. 2 questions I'm going to try to get us answered is, do the graduates usually arrive to commencement with their families, or are they given a designated earlier time to arrive? And then second question is, are there any restrictions on what can be brought into the Pitt?
Okay, so as far as what can be brought into the Pitt, there are restrictions. We tell the students not to come with anything. They should walk in the building with their regalia on and they need their name announcing card. The Peterson does have a clear bag policy. That is the Peterson's policy. That's not ours. We have links to that on the website. Now, if it's raining the day of, which tends to happen, you're allowed to bring umbrellas in, but they really try to enforce that clear bag, the Peterson's policy with that. So the more people bring in, sometimes they will search and they'll let people through, but it just slows the line down. And the lines tend to get really long with people coming in. So I recommend you come with the bare minimum in a clear bag, just like you would be going to a Steeler game, a Pitt game, anything like that. It's best just to follow those guidelines. And I can't remember what the first one was.
The graduates come to commencement with their families, or do they have a dedicated earlier time?
So we open the doors for the students and for the family around 10:30. So the students have to come in a specific door, which they'll get all this information with their name announcing card, but they come in a door that's separate from the families. The families come in the main lobby or behind the Peterson across the plaza. So you will be separated from your graduate. The students come in their door and everybody goes through security. So that's something else to keep in mind as well. Metal detector security, everything like that. The students come in and we send them directly out onto the floor. So we try to keep the families and the students as separated as much as possible. So the parents will go in one door, the students go in the other. The students go directly onto the floor and into their seats where they sit with their schools. We do try to enforce the students. Families can keep coming in. The students need to be in there and in their seats by 12:15, 12:30 at the latest. We do, the ceremony itself will start at 1 o'clock, but we have a 10-minute pre-game, pre-ceremony. I don't know a better way to say that. But we do a couple of fun things that kind of kick the ceremony off, which starts about 12:50 or so. We have to stop students if they're not in the building on time. They have to wait in the lobby until we get things started and then we let the students in. So we really try to enforce to these students, you have to be in there and be in your seat so we can get started. So we will start one way or the other. We would just prefer all the students get in there and are seated by the time it starts.
Thank you. We have 2 questions in the Q&A that you sort of started talking about, is They want to know, I'm just going to read them sort of verbatim so we can answer them. How will we know when our student will cross the stage? Don't want to be getting food or in the bathroom when they're announced. And then the second question was just sort of similar. Will names of students be announced alphabetically or by college? If by college, is there a list of that order? So how's that announcing work?
So we do, once we start the name announcing, which is about half an hour, 45 minutes into when the ceremony starts, we go by school. The students are not announced alphabetically, but we do go by schools. We do all the health science schools first. So pharmacy, nursing, SHRS, public health. I'm forgetting one of them, but we do all the health sciences first, and then we go through the other schools. So as long as you're in your seat, when they start announcing your child's school, you'll be able to see them. The great thing that we have noticed, since we don't process students in anymore, and honestly, sometimes we do talk about alphabetizing, but there's 2,500 students. I think it would just be too much and someone will be out of order and it just wouldn't work out. The nice thing about getting the students onto the floor, because they don't process in anymore, we don't have any place to have them gather, is that students are constantly, they have their phones and they call their parents are yelling down, kids are waving. You'll know where your child is sitting at. It's funny, they do all kind of crazy things, so you'll know where they're at. And then it's just a matter of watching. And as we start a name announcing, you'll see kind of how the flow goes. Arts and sciences is last, I can tell you that. That's the biggest school by far. So health sciences go first, they're the smallest groups, everyone else, and then we do arts and sciences last.
Thank you. Switching gears a little bit, are wheelchairs available for rent and how much, if we know that information?
Wheelchairs are available. You do not need to rent them. So the Peterson always has their typical stash. What we do is we rent about 10 or 12 extra wheelchairs and we leave them at the entrances. The ushers that work at the Peterson are aware of where they're at. If you come in and ask for a wheelchair, they will get one for you. I don't think we've ever run out of wheelchairs. Again, never say never with doing these big events, but we try to make sure that we have enough to cover, you know, the Peterson with their stock, and then we always supplement. There's no charge to that. We let you take it and use it, and then we've never had a problem with not getting wheelchairs back, but we don't do anything like that. We're not going to charge someone to use a wheelchair. Those are just there for you to use.
Sorry, I restarted the slideshow somehow. Sorry, I'll go back to that last slide. If they are graduating with 2 degrees from 2 different colleges, how will their name be called? Which school will they be called in?
So when the student gets the invitation and they RSVP, it's a form that they need to fill out. And we ask them, if you're a dual degree recipient, what school do you want to sit with? They don't go across the stage twice. They pick whatever school that they want to sit with, and then we put them in with that school. Anybody who's graduating from the honors college is different. And I don't know if this might be a question, but we recognize all the students who are obtaining their Bachelor of Philosophy. We recognize those students individually at the ceremony, but they still sit within their school. So if someone's dual honors college and CBA, you would sit with the business school, and we'll recognize anybody with the honors college. But if you're getting a dual degree in arts and sciences and CBA, the student will just simply get the option to pick which school they want to sit with, and then we put them in and we hold a seat in that area.
Once your student's school is finished, like they've been announced, can guests and students leave, or does everyone stay until everything is completed?
Everybody stays. Obviously, we don't lock the doors and not let people leave. The ending of the ceremony, which I won't give away, is probably one of the best parts of the ceremony. So we really don't have that as an issue of people leaving. Again, I think people get the rumor mill and they think it lasts 4 hours, and it's really not. Like I said, we have kept the ceremony under 3 hours, and we call everybody's name. we've done focus groups with students on and off throughout the years, and we never used to recognize students individually until that became a huge selling point and kids wanted their name recognized. So we've made adjustments to the ceremony where you are not going to sit through 10 speakers who are giving remarks and giving speeches and things like that. We don't do that. This the speeches and the commencement speaker have time limits. Your student speaker, which Student Affairs selects, they get 2 minutes. And we keep everybody to it, which 2 minutes sounds kind of quick, but it's really not. So, but we've worked really hard to limit some of that pomp and circumstance that you need for a ceremony, but nobody wants to sit through a 20-minute commencement address. We don't do that. We've kind of tailored it to focus more on the students, more on them walking across the stage and getting recognized, as opposed to sitting through a lot of different people speaking. So we've never had a problem with people leaving. Like I said, they can get up and walk out. The ending is by far the best part of the ceremony. So I think students know that and they tend to stick around.
Completely agree. It is worth the 3 hours for sure. A question a little bit circling back. I know tickets are a big topic for your office.
Yep.
If students don't need all 4 of their tickets, or they're willing to sell them, or there's a clearinghouse, or I realize that the 4 tickets are free, but how could parents or families who are looking for additional tickets, where are trusted sources that they could be looking? And is there a clearinghouse? Is there a waiting list? Those are some of the words being used in the Q&A.
So we are going to look and see where we're at once the registration closes. Our goal is to get as many people in there that we can without getting in trouble and having them close the building down on us for fire code violations. We will take a look at that. What we've done last semester and what we've done once we started doing tickets was your student will get a link for 4 tickets. It's a one-time shot. If they take all 4, you get all 4. If a student says, I only have mom and dad coming, I'm only taking 2, we are able to go in and pull those 2 tickets back if someone doesn't take them, which is what we have tried to do in the past. So we will pull as many tickets as we can if students don't need them, and we try to keep repurposing tickets out. We do that, and the mechanism of how we're going to do that, we don't know yet. Simply because if we have 2,500 students RSVP, there will be no extra tickets. So chances are, once we close registration, we're going to get an idea of where we're at. I would just recommend tell your students to watch their email. If we have extra tickets and we're able to give them out, we may just put out a wait list or a ticket request list and get them out. Sydney and Ashley, who are here behind the scenes doing the chat, they are our tech gurus. They work with Ticketmaster. They work with the Peterson. They keep, up until the day of, are on their phone sending tickets out to parents. We will have more information as we get closer to that, how we're going to do it. I just don't know, because again, if we reach max capacity with the students, then there won't be any extra tickets. So we do the best we can to repurpose them and get as many tickets as possible. I do know I love Facebook and I hate Facebook. So as I mentioned, I have 2 boys that are in college. So I am a member of a lot of those Facebook groups. A lot of them are great. And they do repurpose information and get things out of there. You should not be buying tickets from anybody. The tickets are going out the week of April 15th, and they're going directly to your student. So anybody that goes on there and says, I have an extra ticket, email me, DM me, I'll sell it to you. Those are all scams. The tickets are free. They're going directly to your students. They will get 4. So maybe later on, there's always parents on there that says, I have an extra ticket, I have this, I have that. That's up to you guys to vet that person. Please just don't buy them. There's no reason to be buying a ticket. We are not selling them. Those are generally scams. And I know I have seen, and I've popped onto a couple different things that I've seen where I have 4 tickets, DM me and let me know. Those are all scams. Nobody's getting a ticket until the week of April 15th. So just to keep that out there, I don't want anybody to get ripped off or think they're getting something and they're not.
That is such good information, Sharon. A question, this has been asked a couple of times, and I'm ashamed, but I don't know the answer, but has the undergraduate commencement speaker been announced yet?
It has not. So
Now I don't feel so.
I know, I know. They normally don't announce who the speaker is until the beginning of March, mid-March, somewhere in there. We have a person in mind and they're currently working on that right now, but nothing is set yet. So you have to stay tuned for that. They will make an announcement though, on campus to let you guys know who that is.
There's a question, I guess actually for me to answer. Will the Q&A Zoom transcript be saved or sent, not just the recording? As of right now, we will only be sharing the recording via the Student Affairs YouTube channel. So it's public. If you registered for this webinar, whether you were able to hop on or not, you will get a copy of the recording via an email and a quick survey, the commencement link, a couple of follow-up items. Nothing new, no information new, everything that's been shared and that is available, but we will just be sharing the recording. I think I'm just checking the Q&A. Ashley and Sydney are so fast. The answers.
I did want to address one thing. I think it was on one of the questions that came in. And I know we get a lot of questions about this as well in our office of why only 4 tickets? You should move to a larger venue, things like that. So I just wanted to put it out there and just to try to keep in perspective a little bit. There really is not a larger facility to move to. We have had discussions and we've researched different areas. So if you're from the Pittsburgh area, or even if you're not, there are 3 other buildings, arenas that are larger than the Peterson Event Center, and that's it. AccuSure Stadium, where the Steelers and the Pitt Panthers play football at. There's PNC Park, where the Pittsburgh Pirates play at. And then there's PPG Paints Arena, where the Penguins play at. That PPG Paints is not really a lot bigger than the Peterson Event Center. We have explored that option before. Unfortunately, we can't guarantee a date because that would fall within the Penguins playoff season. So they always tell us, we'd love to have you, but we can't give you a date until about a week or so before. So obviously that wouldn't work for us. We do ceremonies at PNC Park during COVID when we had to socially distance, and we did a couple ceremonies at PNC Park. That worked out good. Again, there's pros and cons to, there's cons to cost, you're outside, the rain. The one ceremony had poured the whole time, so everybody sat in the rain. Again, there's cost factors with that, but again, that's during the Pirates season. Baseball starts at the beginning of April. So again, they couldn't guarantee us a location there. And AccuSure would probably be our best bet. We have approached them before and we just have not been able to work that out with them. They have concerts, they have different things that are going on. And again, cost and being outside is a factor. We've students before, and surprisingly, they all want to stay on campus. They said, we've been here 4 years, we want to graduate on campus. In a perfect world, we would have the old Pitt Stadium here and we could do it here on campus outside. But I just wanted to put that out there. It's easy to think we could just move somewhere else, but in the scheme of things, there really isn't a lot of options for us. We have explored those options different throughout the years. My boss and I, Jason, just had a meeting kind of hitting on that again with some different people. So as the class sizes get bigger, we may have to explore some of those options and then again, weigh the pros and cons. But I know a lot of people want us to just move to a larger venue, but I just wanted to put that out there that we have considered all the options. The path that we have right now is what works best for the students and campus right now. I can't say that won't change in the future, But what we don't want to do is start building hopping, to go to AccuSure 1 year and everybody can attend. And then the next year we have to go back to the Peterson and you get 4 tickets. We want some consistency so everybody gets the same experience. So further on down the road, things might change, but I just wanted to put that out there because I do feel like if you're not from this area, it's easy to think that there's a bigger facility somewhere, and the Peterson is pretty much it. Again, people throughout the convention center, just things like that, they're just not big enough. So we try to accommodate as many students and as many guests as possible and put on the best celebration. I mean, and like I said, you have students who are graduating. I have students. My boss has students who are graduating. We want them to feel special and to recognize them. And I really feel like the ceremony does that. And again, stay till the end because that's the best part of the ceremony. But just to throw that out there. And again, if anybody wants more information about things like that, call our office or email us. We can talk to you and walk you through all that, and kind of go from there. But I did just want to put that out there because I feel like that's always a concern for parents is there something else we could be doing? And I just wanted to put that out there that we have considered all the options and things might change in the future, but this is the best way to go about it right now.
Sharon, thank you so much. I think that is a wonderful ending point. I really appreciated that inside look at, what goes into it and the thought process. And it's an exciting time on campus. Commencement weekend, graduation weekend is one of my favorite times. The energy, the amount of people on campus. So I say, like, just like when you arrive to bring your student to campus, you pack your patience and your excitement. And I just want to thank, there's a couple of comments in the Q&A. Doreen said, no question, just thank you for this wonderful session, which seems like a wonderful end to our webinar about commencement. Sharon and your team, thank you so much. Sydney and Ashley, thank you so much for all. You answered 60 questions behind the scenes in a matter of 50 minutes. So that's really impressive. Really impressive. And so thank you so much. The commencement.pitt.edu website. That is your go-to spot, as well as reminding your student to keep checking their email. And thank you. And we hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your Wednesday.
Great. Thank you very much.